Hey, what's going on, everybody? Jay Cruz here. As you know, we've been going through a little bit of a tone journey as of late, and we can't talk about tone without talking about guitars. So today we're going to check out my current guitar lineup. Let's get it. As guitarists, I think that we could all agree that guitars are beautiful. And if we could own as many as we possibly wanted, we definitely would do so. However, as a budget musician, I really need to make sure that my purchases are warranted, that they're not just purchases for the sake of wanting that guitar. It has to serve a purpose. So today I want to show you the guitars that I personally use here on a weekly basis. They appear on my channel quite often, and I constantly use them in recording sessions, and I'll explain a little bit as to why. First and foremost, we're going to discuss the number one, the guitar that I could honestly say is my number one go-to at the moment. And it should be, because this is a custom build just for me. This is the J. Cruz Model T guitar version 2. This is a much thicker neck than what you would find in a modern day Telecaster. We have Lawler pickups, a Bigsby. It's reliced beautifully, and it's my go-to instrument. When using this guitar, both here on the channel or in the studio for recording sessions, I think about what I want to accomplish. I want to cut through a mix. I want it to sound like me, like it's me playing that instrument. And I don't think any other guitar I'm gonna show you today is gonna get me as close to the J. Cruz project sound as this one will. That brings us to guitar number 2, which is the Nick Johnson Schecter. This is the Indonesian model. As many of you know, this guitar was actually gifted to me, not like for a video or anything. Literally, someone sent me this guitar as a gift, and I was blown away, but I was also concerned that I wouldn't vibe with it. Though this guitar gives the appearance of being more of a vintage style guitar, aka a old Strat, it's actually quite modern. The neck is a roasted maple, extremely thin and extremely smooth. The frets are super jumbo frets, and even the setup, the single coil humbucker with the split coil, is pretty modern technology for me. But I gotta tell you, this guitar really plays so beautifully. I just cannot see myself ever parting with it. Definitely gets the job done. This is my go-to for a lot of clean tones, even though I usually throw just a little bit of hair on it, because I never really play clean anymore, at least not recently. I'm enjoying having a little bit of dirt on my guitar almost always on now. So this is the Strat. Before we continue with the rest of my guitar lineup, I want to quickly shout out Basiner guitar straps. They are the sponsor of today's video. They sent me these straps over to check out. They sent me the bass version and a guitar version that I have sitting there. They have a nice fabric material on top, but then underneath there's this like really cool material, soft to the skin, soft to the touch, has a little bit of padding and flexibility that allows you to hold the guitar strap without feeling any kind of fatigue. It has your traditional strap to go in, but then it has these little clamps in here to help lock the guitar strap in place. So if you don't use washers or some sort of locking system on your straps, this guitar strap pretty much does it all for you. The build quality is absolutely beautiful. You could tell they took their time making these guitar straps, and it shows. I'd like to thank Basiner for sponsoring a video, and now back to the guitar collection. This is the J. Cruz Model T version 1. I built this guitar personally for myself years ago, and I made it to exactly how I personally wanted it at that time. The frets are pretty worn, and because of the condition of the neck, I probably would prefer replacing the neck as a whole versus trying to replace just the frets. So inevitably, I think I will do that. But as of right now, the workaround for me is actually using this instrument as a slide guitar instrument. It's a maple neck with Porter pickups in them, and just amazing, amazing instrument. Moving right along, this is probably the second most used and seen guitar here on the channel. This is a Fano, a Dennis Fano SP6. Dennis Fano is actually now the owner and operator of Novo guitars and Revolta guitars as well. But before Novo, it was Fano guitars, where he was building more so these sort of Frankenstein replicas. Like, for example, this very guitar is a combination of a Les Paul Jr. and a Telecaster. But at some point, Dennis Fano left and sold the company, allowing them to keep the Fano name on the guitars. And this company still exists to this day and make this very same instrument. However, it is not a Dennis Fano version, meaning Dennis Fano himself more than likely had his hands on building this very guitar. This guitar was modified a little bit. I installed Mr. Fabulous mini humbuckers in here, as well as a Bigsby, and it's been a great, great guitar, though I will say, much like vintage instruments, it's very temperamental, to the point where I've never used it live because of how temperamental it can be with its tuning, stability, so on and so forth. And trust me, it was actually worse before the Bigsby. The Bigsby sort of corrected some of the intonation and tuning issues, but not all the way. So I struggle with this instrument just a little bit, but it sounds great because it has this really cool tone that is unlike any of the guitars that I have here in the studio. This next guitar covers the humbucker territory for me, and this is a Close Guitar Apollo Pro. This guitar is actually not mine. It's on loan from Close Guitars, and that's like a funny, weird gray area where you just never know when they're going to want the guitar back. So I try to keep it nice and pristine sitting in the corner of my studio, but I do try to use it when I can for those humbucker bigger type of sounds. These are Fishman Fluence pickups, so they're very, very versatile. You could split them, you could do a bunch of stuff with them, and they're just really amazing. The guitar feels amazing. It's a very unique instrument. A good portion of the guitar is made of carbon fiber, such as the neck itself and even this pick guard right here. So just a very, very unique instrument that's voiced beautifully and plays like butter. And last but not least, we have my acoustic. This is an Ibanez Parlor. If you look this guitar up, you're going to be very surprised to find out that this guitar is probably less than $200 right now, and you can even still buy them on Amazon. It's just been a really amazing instrument. Now, I did do some things to sort of make this guitar play a little bit better, making some adjustments to the neck and intonation, as well as replacing these pegs here and tuners to help the tuning stability, as well as the brightness of tone and just the sturdiness of the guitar as a whole. We all know as guitarists that going from electric to acoustic could be a very dramatic change, and this guitar makes it a lot easier for me to do. As you could see or hear rather, I try not to have redundancy in my tones here in the studio. The idea behind what I do is that I want every guitar to represent a specific type of tone. So I want a Telecaster to sound like a Tele, I want my Strat to sound like a Strat, so on and so forth. I want to once again thank Basiner for sponsoring this video. They make amazing guitar straps and I look forward to continue using them here in the studio. I want to thank you all for watching, but don't click away just yet. Do me a favor, go in the comment section and give me a list of some of your heavy hitter guitars, the ones that are constantly in your rotation. While you're there, please do all the things that help this channel grow. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so, hit the bell notification icon. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next one.